YouTube, this is Geographic Scholar, and this video will be a response video to Katelyn Sunshine's video about Cajun Creole accents in Louisiana. Now, this video is more supposed to be a geographical touch on that, and I wanted to put this more in terms of historical geography and cultural geography, looking at sort of settlement patterns and stuff like that. Now, the accents that were discussed in that video were the Cajun dialect, the Southern dialect, and the Yat dialect. With the Southern dialect being in the northern part of Louisiana, the Cajun dialect being in what is called Acadiana or Cajun country in southern Louisiana, and the Yat dialect being in the greater New Orleans area. Now, I kind of look at that, if you look at it from historical geography perspective, you look at where a lot of the major settlement in Louisiana took place. A lot of it was taking place around the New Orleans area. And what you had there was mainly the French and the Spanish at first. And you see that influence there. And later on, in that part of Louisiana, in New Orleans, it became a major port, became a major place for immigrants coming in from other places like Italy, Spain, Germany, Ireland, Croatia, other parts of the world, Cuba, Haiti, Honduras. You listen to the Yat dialect, and it sounds very similar to what you would see up in places like New York or New Jersey. In fact, the man who wrote Confederacy of Dunces, John Kennedy Toole, he referred to New Orleans as that Hoboken on the Gulf, referring to Hoboken, New Jersey. Now, you see that sort of the similar settlement patterns of immigrants and sort of the influences that it's had on New Orleans. And I would say the accent comes from that. And then you have northern Louisiana. I would say that what you would see up there with the southern dialect that you see in places like Mississippi, Tennessee, Georgia, I would say a lot of that has to do with the settlement patterns up there. It was relatively sparsely populated, with the exception of the town of Natchitoches. Other than that, it was relatively sparsely populated for a long time until the Louisiana Purchase of 1803. After that, you had people coming from other parts of the South moving into that part of Louisiana, mainly people of Anglo-Saxon, Scotch-Irish descent, and many, they brought that way of talking, they brought their ways of food with them. You go to the northern part of Louisiana, you tend to see more of the cornbread, the fried chicken, and other staples that are considered very typical in the Deep South cuisine. Whereas if you go to New Orleans, you tend to see stuff like gumbo, muffaletta, and by the way, muffaletta is a type of sandwich, and that comes from the Italian influence in New Orleans. And then you go with the Cajun dialect in South Louisiana, in places like Vermilion Parish, Terrebonne Parish, cities like Lafayette, Lake Charles, Erath, Eunice, those areas. That comes from Acadians who were expelled in what was known as sort of the upheaval, where basically Cajuns are descendants of the Acadians who came from Canada, from Nova Scotia, from New Brunswick, and and it was mainly the French-speaking people up in those areas. And when Canada was under British control, it was sort of this take an oath to the British Crown or you had to leave. Many did not want to change their customs and their ways, and many left. Many went to Louisiana, and you see sort of the influence of that in South Louisiana, with the Cajun dialect, with the French being spoken there. The French that you see spoken in South Louisiana is very similar to the French that you see spoken in New Brunswick and in Nova Scotia. Now, you look at the geography of this, you look at the settlement patterns. Louisiana has a lot of settlement towards the south part of the state. And with where people settled, different people settled in different places, so it sort of, in terms of historical and cultural geography, it gave New Orleans sort of its own unique Louisiana. It gave Louisiana its own unique character. Because you got all types of people coming to Louisiana and all kinds of people living in the state. People who are descendants of African slaves, people who are descendants of the Acadians from Canada, descendants of Italians, Spaniards, Croatians, people who are descendants of Germans, of Irish, of the Scotch-Irish, the English, it's a different kind of place. You look at the geography itself of Louisiana, it's sort of, you look at it. You see with the northern part of Louisiana with the southern dialect, and then you look at the lay of the land in Louisiana in the north part of the state. It's more higher elevations in that part of the state. It's more rolling hills in that area. Basically more typical of what you would see in places like Georgia, South Carolina, Central Tennessee, places like that. And then you go to the south part of Louisiana, the lay of the land there, you see more bayous, more swamps, it's flatter, you have more access to the sea, and, the food is a product of that. It's no coincidence that the shrimp po' boy is very popular in New Orleans, because you're right on the Gulf. You're right at the source where you get your shrimp. And this whole, the settlement patterns, it sort of reflects sort of the way Louisiana works. You go to New Orleans, you see that all the different you got a bunch of different dialects in New Orleans. You've got what they call the typical Yat dialect, and then you've got the Uptown dialect, and then you've got the Black dialect. It's sort of like different people, different dialects, different things coming together, and then you have the Cajun dialect of South Louisiana. Cajun, the French language. 30% of the population in that part of Louisiana speaks French versus 7% of the rest of Louisiana's population. I mean, the whole state, when you look at it just like geographic, in a geographic perspective, it all seems to come together. And you still have that there. This is Geographic Scholar, signing off.